The buzz was electric as reporters packed the room, camera flashes popping like fireworks at a 4th of July parade. Right in the spotlight, Apple's Tim Cook and former President Donald Trump locked hands, giving the press a picture-perfect moment. Then, out of nowhere, Trump leaned in and dropped a bombshell. "When we say make America great again, we mean America, not India." The room went silent. Trump's words sent shockwaves, putting Apple's global game plan under a microscope and cranking up the political heat. Tim Cook kept his poker face, but the message was loud and clear. Apple's shift toward India was now front and center in a political tug-of-war. And this wasn't just Apple's problem. It was a wake-up call for every American company banking on factories overseas. What started as a handshake for the cameras now looked more like the opening round in a showdown between global business and America-first politics. For Apple, the question wasn't if a political storm was brewing, it was just how rough it would get. That moment captured the tightrope big tech walks, chasing growth around the world while staying in Uncle Sam's good graces. Trump's words brought a new wild card to the table, raw red, white, and blue nationalism, throwing a wrench in Apple's carefully crafted plans. The aftershocks would be felt in boardrooms and government offices for months on end. Silicon Valley just got a reality check. The rules of the game had changed and everyone better pay attention. Apple is both an American icon and a global powerhouse, but that dual identity comes with a price. In Washington, Apple is celebrated for its innovation and jobs, yet criticized for offshoring and tax strategies. In India, Apple is welcomed as a source of jobs and investment thanks to Modi's Make in India push. The company is caught in a tug-of-war. Washington wants jobs at home, New Delhi wants jobs in India. Every iPhone made in Chennai is one not made in Austin, and every dollar invested abroad is a political talking point. Tim Cook must satisfy two nationalist leaders with competing agendas, knowing a misstep in one capital could spark backlash in the other. Apple's decisions ripple through entire economies, moving not just jobs but entire ecosystems. Both governments hold leverage. The US can threaten tariffs, India can offer incentives or obstacles. Apple, for all its power, is a pawn in a larger game of global influence. The stakes are enormous. Apple's moves shape not just its own future, but the economic fortunes of nations. Navigating this high-wire act is now central to Apple's survival. The company's global ambitions are now inseparable from the politics of two superpowers. The balancing act has never been riskier. For years, Apple and China were the ultimate globalization duo: American design, Chinese manufacturing, unstoppable growth. But the US-China trade war and COVID-19 exposed the risks of relying on a single country. Lockdowns and tariffs disrupted Apple's supply chain, costing billions and revealing dangerous vulnerabilities. The lesson was clear. Apple needed a China plus one strategy. India, with its vast workforce and eager government, quickly became the top candidate. The move isn't just about cheaper labor, it's about de-risking Apple's entire global operation. Diversifying manufacturing is now a strategic imperative, not just a business decision. Apple's migration to India is one of the most complex, expensive shifts in corporate history. Make America Great Again isn't just a slogan, it's an economic doctrine demanding jobs return to US soil. MAGA-nomics sees offshoring as betrayal, and Apple, with its global supply chain, is a prime target. Trump's blunt message to Cook, MAGA means America, not India, crystallized the conflict. Tariffs, public shaming, and regulatory threats are all tools a nationalist administration can wield. For Apple, the pressure is real. Choose global markets or appease American workers. Explaining global supply chains to a nationalist audience is a losing battle. CEOs like Cook are forced to fight on political terrain where symbolism trumps economic logic. The MAGA message resonates, and Apple must adapt or face the consequences. Experts are split on Apple's best path forward. Some say Apple must stay the course in India. Reversing now would damage its global reputation and risk overexposure to China. Others warn that ignoring US political pressure is dangerous. A symbolic onshoring move could defuse tensions. Wall Street wants stability. Any sign of strategic retreat could spook investors and tank Apple's stock. The consensus: Tim Cook faces impossible choices. Doubling down on India risks a trade war at home. Caving to politics could cripple Apple's long-term strategy. There's no perfect answer, only trade-offs. Cook's decision will set a precedent for all American multinationals navigating a fractured world. The stakes are not just corporate, they're geopolitical. Apple's next move will define its legacy and the future of global business. The world is watching. Tim Cook's playbook is quiet diplomacy and strategic engagement, not public confrontation. He reframes the narrative, highlighting Apple's massive U.S. investments in R&D, data centers, and the app economy. Cook emphasizes that key iPhone components are made in America, diluting criticism about overseas assembly. Strategic appeasement is another tool. Apple could announce a new U.S. factory or expand domestic operations for political goodwill. These moves are more about symbolism than scale, but they buy Apple breathing room. Cook also leverages Apple's popularity. Raising iPhone prices or limiting access would anger millions of voters. Consumer loyalty gives Apple a buffer against political attacks. By innovating and maintaining public favor, Cook strengthens his negotiating position. Apple's brand is its shield, and Cook knows how to wield it. In this political minefield, soft power is as important as supply chains. Apple's India strategy is about more than manufacturing. It's about future growth. With a booming middle class, India is poised to become one of Apple's biggest markets. Local production lowers costs and unlocks market access, making India indispensable. Apple is investing in retail, services, and brand building, not just factories. Pulling back would jeopardize both manufacturing and sales, ceding ground to rivals. India's Make in India policy ties market access to local production. Manufacturing is the key to the market. Scaling back would invite retaliation from New Delhi, making Apple less competitive. The two goals, making and selling, are inseparable. For Apple, India is not optional. It's a necessity for continued dominance. The cost of retreat would be a generational setback. The India imperative is clear. It's the future. Apple won't retreat from India. The strategic and economic logic is too strong. But political pressure from Washington can't be ignored. Expect Apple to recalibrate new U.S. investments, high-profile announcements, and a performance of corporate patriotism. Most production will still shift to Asia, but the optics will appease American politicians. Tim Cook will walk a tightrope, balancing Washington, New Delhi, and Wall Street. The goal make Apple's global success a win-win for both America and India. The age of frictionless globalization is over. Supply chains are now battlegrounds. Multinationals must be political actors as much as business leaders. Apple will adapt, but the risks and stakes have never been higher. The world's eyes are on Apple's next move.